This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
This is the Public Safety Building Committee, October 16th meeting. It is 4:35. And we are all in attendance with the exception of Chief Illingsworth, and he is on his way. So, seeing no public here, we move on to the minutes. So we did not review the September 25th minutes last time. How do we, do you have copies of it? Does anyone have?
I don't have a hard copy. I've got one.
If necessary, I can read them out loud.
It's long, it's 2 pages, so I guess we need to do that,
I
right?
saw them before, but...
Yeah, it's probably a while ago.
I'm happy to read them also, unless, well, I guess that's the quickest thing to do, right? We have to, I guess we need to know what's in them to approve them. I can bypass up through the approval of minutes, I think. Review of HKT revised programming summary. Both Jana and Amy contributed to the discussion of the agenda in their PowerPoint, which summarized the information gathered at their site visits earlier in the month and gave likely space requirements to address the needs of our public safety professionals. Gross square foot predictions were provided per departments and shared spaces. HKT did not believe any programming request was excessive or unusual. The HKT agenda follows. Their PowerPoint is attached. So programming process, site visit, summary document, cost implication, schedule, through deadline of March 8th, 2024, site assessment and matrix. Discussion followed regarding the differences in the 2014 public safety building proposal, which proposed a 23,169 square foot building versus 2023 29,968 gross square feet, and how requirements for code, functionality, programs, security, health and safety, administration, apparatus space needs, as well as what has shifted in the post-COVID era have impacted the size requirements. HKT noted that the data from the 2014 proposal didn't clearly define if the gross square foot data included the thickness of the walls, plumbing chases, and mechanical shafts. So comparing the numbers is more of an assumption. HKT stated the cost per square foot dollar amount had increased quite a bit since 2014. Further discussion included potential ways to reduce the proposed square foot requirement, such as slimming down some of the office and closet spaces. These reductions could come from the chief's period. Soft costs were discussed, such as land purchase, furnishings, energy and maintenance, cameras, etc., and such costs would be 25 to 30% of the building costs. In their experience, building a metal building versus a brick and mortar building no longer represents savings. Janet Slamanda then shared a boilerplate site matrix design that would place the 3 proposed building sites on the x-axis and on the y-axis, a variety of factor categories: location, accessibility, site features, environmental, site development, availability, that's parenthetical, with multiple sub-factors would be found. The PSVC would plan to insert scores in each space to total 100. HKT will assist in the scoring to help the committee perform an objective evaluation, but the decision should be with the committee. HKT confirmed that PAR engineers will perform site reviews on Wednesday, September 27th. Chris reported that permission to go on the 79 Clark street property had not been received, so the engineers can only take a look from the street, but it is possible to do visits on the 0 College Highway parcel and 204 College Highway, the current fire department. Jenna and Amy stated they will return to hold a Zoom meeting with the committee on October 2nd, 2023, mostly to discuss the matrix scoring. They then departed the meeting. Next item was discuss additional PSBC responsibilities to complete the feasibility study. Chief Illingsworth stated the comparison of other area PSD public safety buildings might await a future meeting. Cindy moved to defer this agenda item to a later date. Christina seconded, no discussion, unanimous. Discuss public engagement plans. Cindy offered a draft list of activities compiled from ideas presented at previous meetings. One item is to create an engagement group of citizens who can help get the information out. I think it should be out widely. It says out widely.
Okay.
Ed Gibson could not comment on how they could be formed off the top of his head and asked Cindy to send him an email describing the concept for him to review. Chief Illingsworth has sent an email to Jeff Mastrioni from eMedia, but no filming date is set. Hello, Chief. Other discussion of public engagement ideas deferred to the future meeting. Other business. Acting Chief Fasoli is on the upcoming Select Board agenda to be appointed to the PSBC in place of retired Fire Chief John Workman. Next meeting, October 4th, motion to adjourn. Oh, did I just read the wrong minutes? Did we have a meeting on October 4th that we did? Those were the ones we didn't.
Maybe it should have said October 5th.
Yeah.
That's there
Yes.
in the minutes, so we'll change it to October 5th. My fault, because we
No,
did
that's
meet
all
on
right.
October 5th, yes.
Yeah, we did. Oh, and those are the meetings minutes
Yes, the second
we're
meeting.
reviewing
I think
now.
that was one of the times that the meeting was up in the air, whether it was gonna be like the 4th or the 5th or
Okay.
something.
All right, so,
We have on the 2nd and the 5th, according to my town. October 2nd and 5th.
yes, those were the two meetings with
So it should say the
HKT.
2nd then, the next meeting was October 7th, 2nd.
Well, 2nd was maybe the.
Oh, that was the
visit.
site visit,
That was the
yes.
site visit, wasn't
So the 5th is correct.
it? Yep.
Okay.
Well, no, we met on the 2nd to start the ranking.
Right, that was second right, we started the
Site visit was in
rankings.
September, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the site visits were on September 27th, so I just read
Oh,
the
yeah,
wrong
that's
meeting.
above the, okay.
Yeah,
So,
no, it's correct.
so which should they be, Chris? I mean,
So October 2nd was the,
was the next meeting, after the 25th, the official meeting in this room was
Right, we
was
moved.
the 2nd. Okay.
HKT and us.
All right.
Let me see if I can find those
Holy
numbers.
cow.
So what you just read was what date then?
The 25th.
Of
September, excuse me. And I don't think I do have a hard copy of October 2nd's. Oh, thank you.
Is that the 2nd or the 5th that he just handed you?
This is the 2nd.
Okay, oh boy.
So I guess, did we, in fact, approve the September 25th
Well, they're
minutes, which I just read?
They're posted.
Oh, geez.
So I'd say we must have.
Oh, Christine, I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. I think
Why don't we jump to October 5th if we don't have October 2nd?
we do have
Oh.
October 2nd.
Okay.
It's only, it's,
No.
Okay.
oh, I
Not
am
posted,
sorry.
I'm sorry.
2 and 5 are not posted, so you're good.
May I just drop right down to the review of the draft site
Sure.
evaluation matrix provided by HKT. Cindy supplied copies of a printed brochure paid for by CPA funds and sent to all Southampton households a few years previous with information about drinking water protection and including the map of the Barnes Aquifer. She noted that the town's drinking water comes from wells, so drinking water protection is critical. Motion. Cindy moved to add a section about drinking water protection under item 4, environment of the matrix, and allow HKT to provide the rating criteria. Seconded by Charlie, unanimously accepted. Further discussion of the matrix occurred when HKT joined via Zoom. Space needs programming deferred until a future meeting when Chief Illingsworth can be present. Public engagement planning deferred for now. Discussion with HKT of the site evaluation report and matrix. At 4:30, HKT principals Amy and Janet joined the meeting via Zoom. Their PowerPoint attached provided their agenda as well as the draft matrix. Further, the PowerPoint content and the subsequent discussion addressed the PAR draft report and thereafter the site evaluation matrix draft. It was noted that the PAR draft report was emailed to the chairperson moments before this meeting. Christina had no opportunity to review the report, nor to forward it to the committee. When Amy Dunlap read the report essentially in its entirety, while Amy Dunlap read the report essentially in its entirety and many questions were asked, the committee expressed a need to read the report fully before accepting it or prior to giving input to the site evaluation matrix. Further, one member of the Public Safety Building Committee had to depart the meeting prior to adjournment, thus eliminating a quorum and making deliberation impossible. Further discussion was deferred, and then next meeting, the 5th.
Okay.
So the only thing I would comment about that is that let's see. The PAR draft report didn't come in moments before the meeting. It was, I saw it when I got in from work, so it had come in earlier in the day, and I just didn't see it because I was working.
So how about if I just...
That picky about it.
No,
Say
okay.
That, the draft report had not,
Chairperson,
been reviewed by
before the meeting, the chair had no opportunity to review it prior.
That's fine.
Okay, not moments.
That's
I'll
being
take
too
moments out.
particular.
Yep.
Okay. So, do we have a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
I'm going to abstain, I wasn't at the meeting.
Okay, one
I'll
abstention.
abstain as well.
Oh, okay, two abstentions.
And I'll just remind everyone that just because you weren't here, you don't need to abstain, you can vote.
Oh, that's
So,
right.
But you still abstained? I think we're all set otherwise.
Okay,
Now you
now,
have the other ones before you. the fifth.
yes, we do, and I will not read them.
Does everybody have a copy? There's a couple extra copies here.
Oh,
Need them?
and Chief, would you like the second back?
I'm sorry?
Oh, I'm talking to Chief Fasoli here. Do you want these back? Those were your October 2nd minutes.
So just one thing that I think might just be a typo on the fourth bullet down, the big paragraph,
Yep.
the second paragraph, the last sentence, HKT will next create, I'm thinking that's test
Yeah, not text.
fit.
Test. I'll fix that. Okay.
At that October 5th meeting, did we vote to ask the select board to write to Marmon Keystone to say that we weren't interested?
I know we discussed it.
We discussed it, but I think we decided it
I
wasn't
don't think we need
needed.
to take a vote, and it's really select.
Okay, but should
I
it
was
be
just-
noted that the select board will, or is it just
It
finance?
said consensus agreement there, so it's up to the select board to, it's up to me to write the letter. The last
The
sentence.
last two words of
They didn't need
that paragraph,
permission.
consensus agreement, that she would just notify the owners.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I haven't read that. Where,
Under other business?
The same section about discussion, the very last line.
got it, I just hadn't, okay.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah,
good.
so that's fine.
Do I have a motion to approve these minutes?
Oh,
Second, please?
Cindy,
I'll
seconds?
In favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain or otherwise?
Are you an otherwise or an abstention?
If I could accept them.
Okay, thank you.
All right,
Thank
that is unanimous. So I guess we have now finished with the minutes.
Thank goodness.
Chief Illingsworth, shall I carry on? or-
Please. You're doing great. I'm taking notes.
May I please move the review of the invoice just up to the next item to be addressed? We have a monthly invoice from HKT, and I thought before we got into discussion, we could just approve this. So HKT has sent their monthly invoice, dated September 15th, for $9,613.27, and that is for work completed up to the end of September, I think, if it's a monthly invoice.
And a question, during the negotiations, there was an amount that was approved for their entire feasibility study. These invoices are just to let us know that they're doing the work, but can they exceed the amount that was approved in the contract for them to do the
No.
feasibility eventually?
Not
No.
in the contract, no.
No, but they
So-
need to be paid along the way, so they're submitting monthly
Yeah.
invoices.
Yeah, I don't know that there was, I don't think we talked about anything in terms of how often they would invoice or,
There was no
Okay.
payment schedule. Just
So-
notes of-
No, no.
Well, then, in that case, I don't see it. Anybody, I move that we accept this monthly invoice and
I
move it forward for payment.
question the authority of this committee to authorize any payment, given the fact that we have no account as the
Oh.
select board.
Well,
So we need language that doesn't say we approve the invoice in the sense that we're paying it, but that we agree with the amount.
okay.
That would
Or the
make
work
sense.
done. They agree with the work done.
This committee will pay this invoice. It falls under this committee.
This committee actually has access to that account,
Mm-hmm.
but the original charter said that there was no monies allocated to this.
Because at that point in time, there was not.
then we added the ARPA money, right?
Yes, correct.
So as any invoices are coming due, it's the committee that needs to approve them, because the committee was awarded ARPA money to get the feasibility study done. At least a portion of it. There's also the portion that we got from Senator Vilas's office.
Correct.
Which will not be, maybe under our purview, right?
No, it still would be.
Still would be?
I mean, you think about it. I mean, yes, you sit on this committee and are a voting member. I sit on the committee, but I'm a not voting member. However, it's really only the committee that has the direct involvement to know what they have done, what they're being billed for, not the select board, not the town administrator.
Well, my motion is that we agree to have this amount paid.
And I'll second that based on what's been said.
I have a second copy. Would anyone else like to review it before we vote on it, or are we good with?
We're just passing it.
good with it.
Okay. So may I have, I guess I need a motion. May I have a motion to approve?
Yes.
I did make the motion.
Excuse me,
Yeah.
who seconded
This
it?
is the
Charlie.
stipulated amount.
Thank you, Charlie.
And this is balance left after.
So it's discussion.
Yeah, so now
They've only
we're,
done
is there a discussion?
70%.
We'll hear.
Of space needs assessment. That's what our charge is for.
See if I can quickly find the other invoice and we'll go down the other side of the table.
I had mine as well, Christine, I'm just looking for it.
That's right, it's going on.
File is quickly getting to. Oh, I can see it. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That's unanimous. So we'll move on to the HKT programming and site matrix results. Let's start with the programming and see if we have any input from the chiefs. You are the two who are really carrying the ball with this portion of it and making sure you get what you need and reducing as much as you can. So Chief Asoli, do you have
Not at
comments?
this time, no. Everything looks good.
Okay.
I went through ours, and like we mentioned in the last meeting, I don't think there's a necessity for 3 sally ports. So the reduction of 1 sally port, not the larger one, but there's 3. 2, 1 was
Right.
larger and the 2 are the same. One of those sally ports. It's a small reduction, but it was 100 square feet, I think, for the bunk area. You know, that's something that we, that can help. We can reduce that. It's a 1 bunk room, 1 bed in the bunk. And then I also suggested that perhaps the common space might be reduced as well, if we wanted to. That's something that we should probably think about. And I think it went from accommodating up to 45 people or so. That's a lot of people. However, and then I don't know how much that would reduce the actual square footage, but I know that usually our training for the police department, I think Chief Asoli said his training usually is about 20 people or so. Our max would be probably 20, that includes part-time officers. And it all depends on how much we want to open up for the public.
Didn't Janet caution against
She did,
that?
yes, she
Right.
did.
Currently, it's at 48. So,
So with the reduction she had made, is that taking your comments into consideration or no?
She did not, no.
She
that
didn't,
wasn't-
no.
So you're saying more could be reduced, basically?
I'm not, I'm just putting it out there, right? Because that is a significant amount of space. So that's why I brought it up for discussion.
At $8.50 a square foot?
What was the square footage on that space, do you know?
Let me take a peek at it. I got it up here.
1,188.
That's the common space? or-
The training room. Training room, EOC, community meeting room.
1,000, roughly, just over 1,000.
About 1,200.
1,200 feet. Does anyone
And
know
that's
what?
$1 million, just that space.
This room would hold about, what, 30 people?
If it was theater style? Could you
Yeah.
get 30 people in this room?
16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21,
I was-
maybe 25 with the chairs are full.
I was going to ask if anyone knows what the size of the select board room is downstairs, roughly?
Not off the top of my head, I'd have to go measure.
Yeah, we all would.
But I
yeah.
would say it's twice the size of this room. Would you say that
Oh,
as a
I
rough
would
guess?
say it might even be as three
Might be
times
three
the
times.
size.
But I don't think, it's not,
Now, if you wanted to think of this in another way, the calculation I just ran was if something like COVID ever came up again and there's needed to be 6 feet of space in between anyone, that room would accommodate 32.7 people as it's originally designed and presented. Just bringing it back to training funds, so a little more than 20, but might be, or might be something we want to keep in the back of our minds, and maybe not.
But my
I mean, we
idea of
could-
COVID was a lot of modifications had to be made. That was a big one, of course, not being able to be in a closed public space, but not to say we won't have another pandemic, we will.
Never say never.
I think.
But even like,
Not
even
to-
like with town meetings, I mean, we've been alternating seats, so we've tried to maintain that, whatever, 6-foot
Yeah,
distance.
yeah.
I'll be back, I will tell you what the square foot.
Face it out.
Yeah.
But,
1,200
Actually,
square,
they're easy when they have 1-foot tiles. You
true.
just gotta count them.
Make sure they're not 9 inches.
yeah, they're probably 11 and a half inches.
These are 12.
1,200 feet is a large room.
Just a little bit.
It is a large room.
It's bigger than this.
There's some houses that are 1,500.
Well, my workshop has a footprint of 1,600, and that's pretty good size.
I think it's 20.
So we know that it's more than enough for your training. Do we have any idea of what the community is going to look to use it for, or what kind of groups?
I mean, the one thing I could think of, we could, use it as a cooling center if it's necessary, right? If we were to open it up and allow the public to use it as just a room that they pay a small fee for,
meeting place. yeah.
meeting place. whether
So,
it's-
yes,
as
so
well as
it-
other user groups within the town, too.
Well, would those other user groups be paying groups? Do you-
I would suggest if they're actual committees,
No.
no. Committees and other departments, no, but, let's say they're, I don't know, I'm not sure, it depends. I mean,
Could
Are we
we-
gonna open it up like the pavilion and let people, like Amy made reference to people in Boston using it for birthday parties and stuff like that.
Right, that's right.
That's what I think a fee would be required.
Right, and is that something we envision for this facility?
I don't,
Well,
I don't,
I don't either, but I also think we lack that kind of space here. The only places are in this town hall. Now granted, we don't have the senior center yet. So
do you
we
mean
may-
private parties? We lack
Yes.
space for private parties?
Yes, for private events, big, I mean, you can rent the country club, I guess. But as far as a place for, meetings, which hall did we go to which fire department did we go to where they said they used it a lot? John, do you remember, was that
Is it the
Hadley?
Hadley's substation?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
And
the
they
substation.
said that it was useful for the Hadley people. I can't recall specifically what for. I'm not saying that should be $1 million for 100 square feet, which is what we're talking about.
yeah, I'm wondering if that's a service that we need to offer
I
for
think
public.
I think you're opening up Pandora's box, because not only are you bringing in the general public into the police and fire complex, but you're bringing in traffic, which is going to have an impact on everything else that's going on there. I think it's a bad idea.
I mean, right now, there's other community groups that use town hall, and they use the senior center, the community chorus rehearses here, the scouts come in, there's Mother's Club, I mean, there's others that meet here. So it's that kind of
Yeah.
function for groups in town, maybe, to have a place to.
Some nonprofit groups.
Right, but I think your notion of a cooling and or a heating center, we do not have that, and I think
Right.
that would be crucial.
That's more emergency
Yes.
oriented
Right.
and germane to what we're trying to do here.
Correct, yeah.
Ed, what's your,
900.
100 square feet
Okay.
current.
So this is another quarter, 25% more.
And is that just the room or is that other stuff? Is that just the meeting room?
It just says,
That's just the meeting room.
yeah,
That's not the lobby or anything.
not
like
any of
that,
that.
no. That's just the meeting room.
right, just a training room.
Yeah.
What number is on there right now? I'm sorry, it's not. What number, how many square feet is on there?
1180, you said?
It's, 1180, 1188, I believe, right?
Right. Yeah, 1,200, 1188.
What if we knock it down to 1,000 and make it, closer to the select board room, then that would be, I mean, that seems plenty big. I don't know how many, if there's a carrying capacity in that room, is there any signage in there that says how many we can ever have in that room? I don't know.
Not in that one, there is on the COA. And then, I mean, the other piece of the puzzle is, okay, how is that room isn't gonna be totally empty. What's gonna go in it, for furniture or what have you? I mean, as an example, in that 900 square foot room downstairs, that, whether you call it dais, committee table, what have you, takes up a bunch of that room.
Right. Well,
So perhaps maybe, obviously we won't have it to be projected right now, but we can go through what they altered and see if we agree with their changes. Would you like to do that? We kind of go through it as we, is that what we're trying to accomplish here? Is to review their programming?
well, you two chiefs have done that.
I did, yes, yes.
And approved. So, yes, I think we should as a committee, but I was assuming that you're the ones who know what you need, and that we to a large extent need to rely on your thoughts on that.
As far as the police department goes, I feel confident with what they minimized or reduced and what I suggested for the police department. I just don't want to make that decision for the shared space. I think that's something that we need to evaluate as a committee, for sure.
Yeah, and back on what you were saying, I mean, if you really think you can get by without one of the sally ports, I mean, that's your recommendation.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I don't know personally that, 100 feet for the bunk bed is really that crucial to reduce.
It's not. I think my concern is I'm looking at how we present this to the public. And we have to make sure that we can articulate that we are cost effective.
There's no blow.
Exactly. I feel like we can get away from the police department, we can get away with 2 sally ports. Now, we don't need 3. I believe we can do that.
Okay.
And I was just going to ask, are 2 necessary?
I think, yes, and I say this only because you have to have one that can accommodate an ambulance.
Right,
And the
right.
other one will also accommodate cruisers in the winter.
Okay.
Or also storage, large storage, so yes.
So it's really more of a storage unit rather than, I mean, how often does the police department need 2 actual secure sally ports?
Space-wise, we need one.
No.
So we have to have one, or we have to have one.
Occasion-wise, when you're pulling 2 persons in that have to be secured simultaneously.
Not often.
Would there be any cost reduction in making it just a storage unit as opposed to a secure facility? I'm not sure. I'm not questioning it. I'm just
No, I
wondering.
don't know. I just, knowing that we store a lot of things in storage containers, that extra sally port would be necessary, I believe would be necessary for us. And in a more secure capacity.
Okay, fine. I just wanted to, I knew you had mentioned that you needed storage facility, but I didn't know whether a sally port itself was more costly to construct because of the security issue than it would be to just give you storage
No,
space.
more of a secure garage bay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and you were fine with all of the few reductions, and did you make further reductions?
Just the original one they sent out.
Right, so you didn't counter,
No, all I added was the oxygen room. I eliminated that. Oxygen
Right.
storage room.
right?
That was 80 square feet. And they originally, the mechanic room had dropped it from 100 to 80. I requested to leave it at 100 and we would get rid of the oxygen room at 80 square feet.
Right.
And then they had already made reductions that I didn't, disagree with. So.
Where will you be able to store that oxygen then?
Well, we have, I don't know how that room came about, because we have maybe 4 bottles, the bigger bottles, that we store, a couple full, a couple empty. And then we have the portable ones, and those can pretty much go anywhere, as long as those are in a wooden box so they can't fall over, and the bigger ones have to be chained to the wall so they don't fall over. So they can pretty much go anywhere. They don't need their own room. So.
Just keep in the back of your minds the little things that you may not think about. The items like, okay, guess what? You can't store anything within 3 feet of an electrical panel or box. You are not allowed to store anything in a mechanical room such as a boiler or furnace room.
Right. I think the mechanic room, they're calling it as like a work area, maintenance.
Yeah, I just,
Right.
because no one ever has enough storage, and then they start storing in these places that either, if your insurance risk comes in and
Right.
monitors you, yeah.
Well, 80 feet is an 8 by 10 foot room. I mean, if you just have that limited amount of oxygen, but it needs to be in a single space, that could be reduced to, But you have added back 20 square feet of
Right,
storage space.
right,
So,
so. And I think the 20 would be fine for what we carry for oxygen. So, and the air gas company we use, they're usually pretty good. If we're out, they'll be there the next day or whatever. I mean, we always have the 2 bottles on the ambulance, both ambulances. So these are just spares that for some reason they run out in the middle of the night, they can swap them. When I first started, everybody got oxygen. Nowadays, hardly anybody does. It's just the way the medical has changed. So, I mean, we don't use a whole lot of it off the ambulance, so we don't really need a whole room just for a few bottles.
any other comments about that?
So if we reduce the 1 Sally port, how much more feet would that be? How many more?
That was,
Because they'd already reduced down to 2,000 something, right? They reduced,
Well, that included the elimination of 1 Sally port, I think, did it not?
It's down to 2.
no.
that's what he said he did not, so that's what I'm asking.
No, I gotta find it.
I can't seem to find it.
I thought that was included.
Here, you want this one?
Yeah.
Bigger.
This might just be a fire, right? Yeah, please.
That's it. Yeah, it was the last page.
So 3 bays total, so it would eliminate 1 bay at 16 by 35. So that would be, you have that, Chris, you can punch those numbers in.
560?
560 square feet, which will amount to a lot.
Yes, no, I was just thinking that you had mentioned that to them before they made the reduction, so I thought that was already built into
No, it was
the
not.
reduction.
No.
Okay, so that does reduce it further.
Yes.
That's significant and good.
And you want to also reduce that bunk area then, too?
The bunk is something that, again, I'm just trying to, do I think it's necessary that there's times where officers are working, you know, over 16 hours a shift, if there's some significant event and they may need to rest. A lot of them live around the area too, they could also just go home and put their feet on the couch, but I think that, I'm just remember the last, I remember the last, try at this. And I remember the public's opinion that, you know, we have to really, for me, I want to show that we are not trying to be, we're not asking for too much. We're asking for what's necessary, especially when it comes down to a $30 million plus price tag. That's just my personal opinion. So, yeah, the bunk is only 100 feet, but at least it's showing that we're trying to reduce.
Is it possible for a police person to sleep in a fire person's bunk if that was available?
It's possible, but it won't happen.
I mean, if somebody's very
Because they have
exhausted,
their
if there
own-
was some crisis.
They have their own personnel. You know, if it's the same, we're
Okay.
going to be working the same event, right?
Yeah, okay.
So they're going to have.
They're going to be
space.
needing it. You're laughing. It must be funny, the very thought of it.
You're moving to hot rack.
I'm just trying to be, yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Hey, what did we make for bunks
short sheet
in
you
the-
anyway.
What did we make for bunks in the fire side?
How come we don't have that? I didn't print that out.
They have it as a dorm room single, but I requested that they be divided, smaller rooms. So all 5 people aren't in just one room, especially if we have male and female on duty. So right now they have it at 475 square feet.
That's for 4 people?
That would be 5. Single bed, side table, space for wardrobe, storage bin, small desk surface.
So dividing that up, it is essentially 100 square feet per, or 90 square feet per person. And adequate, that's enough to divide up.
And the likelihood of having 5 people sleeping over? Rather than 4, say?
Right now, we have 2, but I mean, eventually,
Yeah, thinking
I mean, the
growth.
department should grow.
Right.
Like I said at the select board meeting, we are 150 calls ahead of last year. And what did I say, 55? We're probably close to 60 calls now where our ambulance has been out and we've had to call another ambulance from another town to cover. I mean, it happened again Saturday morning. We had 3 calls all at the same time. So we had East Hampton and Westfield in town. So we're, you know, in the future, if they keeps going this way, I could see having 2 ambulance crews on. So that would be 4, plus, you know, by then you would need an officer on duty, so.
So we have to project.
Right.
Right, this is all about projecting 20.
Yeah, I mean, if they're gonna project 5, I'm just pushing back on you not projecting 1.
I am too. I feel that way.
Well, the flip side of that is, Ian, are you aware of any police facilities that have sleeping space for police officers?
No, but.
I'm not.
I'm not, but I know that there is a trend now for restorative sleep sessions for police. And I know that's trending within, nationally starting to trend, where, you know, an officer is allotted like a half hour, just a quick nap, you know, or a quick, they call it restorative sleep. That, I know that that has occurred, and that is becoming something that's being brought up nationally. I don't know of anybody having it in Massachusetts or any other department that has that, no. No.
Well, a power nap can be useful.
I try that too. Seems like something happens every time I do that.
Well, I think that It's a small enough amount of space that I'm not sure that it needs to be decided on.
It is, I
tonight
just
either.
look at the public's perception of it.
Yeah, right.
And
No, I
that's what I'm-
understand
That's what I'm
fully.
thinking about, is the public's perception. Do I think it's necessary? Do I think we could use it? Sure. When we were in the October storm in 2011, the people were working a lot of hours, right? And I know that may happen again, but I understand the public may look at this and say, do you really need that, right? You know, it would be hard to justify, I can't say it wouldn't be hard to justify, I just see the perception from the public having a hard time recognizing its need.
And that's where we need somebody from the public who doesn't happen to be a police officer in Southampton to stand up and say, there's justification for this. This is not just something extra. This is restorative sleep. This is safe care of our professionals, and this is ultimately good care of our citizens. I think that's part of what the argument is. This isn't some little doodad on the wall that we think makes, is pretty. It's necessary.
And the workforce culture is changing.
Yep.
It is absolutely changing. And there's that balance of, work-life balance. And 20 years ago, you might never have thought that officers were paid to work out on duty. Well, they are now, right? That's becoming something within contracts. I can see this occurring in the future, where officers get, provided that they have some sort of agreement, contractual agreement, that they're going to get some form of, I can see it trending that way. But it's not there yet. I know it, and some departments have, it's actually been brought to my attention. That's why I knew this. It had been brought to my attention during negotiations at one point with the officers, that they were seeking that.
So basically what you're saying is over time, this may become a union issue, if anything.
Over time, it may just become part of the workforce culture in public safety.
Okay.
I don't know if it will or not, but I see things going in that direction.
If you didn't have that dedicated space, is there another space in the station that could serve that function?
Oh, sure. And like I said, most of our officers live in town.
Yeah, a break room.
Right, a break room. Right there, well, there would be a break room somewhere, a break room here.
Was it also in Hadley that there were recliner chairs? What fire department was that? I can't remember which one, where.
Well, that was for fire, right?
Well,
It was fire.
but it's the same thing. If we're,
Yeah.
I know you're saying you can't mix them up, but I just think if somebody needed 20 minutes with a headset on, just to do something restorative, in a crisis,
The difference between the fire and police, the fire are more of a reactive, short of their,
Yeah.
their response is reactive, right?
Yeah.
So in their downtime, they'll have, well, in case unless they get busy, they'll have that time, and they're working 24-hour shifts, so they need it.
Yeah.
Police are expected to be more proactive and more present versus, we have there's objectives, public safety, but there's reasons why the fire personnel have bunks. It's something that, again, my whole thought process really is we have to make sure that I'm gonna have to stand up there.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna have to say why we need it.
Yeah.
And I was there the last time, and I remember being called the Taj Mahal, and it wasn't. But it's just, you have to recognize that this is a big price tag, and I wanna make sure that we really think about what we put into this, so it just doesn't get squashed based on people saying they're asking for too much.
Well, I said it's your decision, your recommendation. I mean, I've said, I think it could be useful, but.
I do too. And it's not about, it has a function, but,
Okay.
I mean, I think the Sally Port definitely gets us more, so we can certainly go back to HKT with that.
I notified them of that. They're aware of that. I think one of the things they did caution about the shared space, and that's something that I thought maybe as a group was something we should discuss as to what we want to do with that shared space as far as the training room. Do we reduce it or keep it as is?
I suggest reducing it some.
Would it hinder the programming and the function significantly if that was, if
I think,
that shared space was reduced?
I think HKT wanted to just make sure we had something available for the public's use, right? I think they found that advantageous. So I think it's, if we kept it, we still meet that, their suggestion, but if we would just reduce it a little bit, it shows that, you know, we are working on trying to lower this price tag.
Well, if we make it similar to the room downstairs, I mean, make it, you know, from 1,200 down to 1,000, that seems like a decent
Well,
compromise.
the select room was what, 900?
900.
Yeah.
I mean, you could even go to 900.
And take out the dais and take out the
Right.
the layout of the select room, which is necessary for the select room, yeah. That's fine.
And that should accommodate this town as far as a cooling center and a heating center. You know, they're-
We still have Norris School, or don't we? I mean,
Nothing designated,
pardon me?
nothing designated formally.
I'm talking about for a cooling center.
It doesn't have air conditioning.
They only have one room with air conditioning there. I believe it's a computer room, a former computer room.
Won't help us much.
It's not on top of these things.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Splash pad in the middle of Norris School cafeteria? No, that won't work.
Cindy, the original design of that school was to put the septic tank in the middle of the library. If you want to talk about crazy things that went on.
Okay.
It never happened.
I wasn't here.
Well, I would move to reduce it to
900.
900 feet. I'll make that motion.
Second?
A second.
All in favor? Aye.
Nine.
Very good, so, Chief, will you please convey that to
HKT?
HKT?
Sure, yeah.
So that's the common space.
I shared, yeah, the shared
Training
space.
room.
Training room.
Get it right.
And yeah, they may come back and say we highly, you know, discourage that. And
Right.
we'll have another discussion. Nothing's set in stone.
No,
Okay,
no,
sounds
not
good.
at this point, that's for sure. So, I would like to float an idea by the committee for discussion regarding the sites, the two sites, or regarding Zero College Highway. There are, when we were discussing it last time and evaluating it, the fact that it's set back from the road really seems disadvantageous to me. It's not really visible. And I also envision a clogged road, like in the morning when school children are getting off and workers are getting off, and there's a fire. And it just seems Route 10 is busy and trying to get all that. There's potential for clog there. And so as I got to thinking about it, I wondered, and just want your impression, what you think of the idea of asking the select board to also negotiate for one of those commercial lots. And this is just an idea. I don't know whether it's a good one or not, but it would put us right on the highway where there could be good signage. We'd be very visible. And it would eliminate the need. It would give us 5 acres rather than 4. And it would eliminate a shared use drive. There'd be direct access to the highway. And you know, in thinking about purchasing another building lot, and this would be if indeed it, possible perhaps, if the 4.2 acres turns out to be a donation that is without strings attached, you know, if the terms and conditions are, result in a clear donation, does the purchase of a single commercial lot change it enough I mean, it's less than ideal, to my mind, set back where it is with that shared road. And to my mind, it becomes rather ideal if we have access to the highway on a private road where we have good visibility. There'll be a sign on it. So I'm just tossing that out for comment and consideration.
Just from getting nitty gritty, and the concept right now for those frontage lots is they will have no access to the main highway. Their access will be through a common drive that goes behind the lots.
Oh.
So there's a single main drive coming in, and there will be essentially a private drive behind all those commercial lots.
Oh,
So if we did this, we would have to, not we, but the fire department would have to have a separate drive onto Route 10. So there'd be the main subdivision road, and then the access for the fire department. And plus, they would have to still consider how that common drive attached to the frontage lots.
But do the commercial frontage lots actually go out to the highway?
No. I mean, the property line does, but their vehicle access will be from the rear.
Okay, but however...
There'll only be one curb cut on that.
Correct. That's not to say
Would it
that
be
couldn't be
impossible that
modified.
you
It's just-
couldn't do a second curb cut to make that? I have no idea.
I think your idea is spot on as to where we need to go with this. I totally agree that if we could just connect to Route 10, Mark.
Well, I agree.
I hear what you're saying, but if the town purchased that building lot and tied it to the donation lot, then the town can build its own driveway to Route 10, and it doesn't matter what the concept plan is, because we're gonna own that land. That wouldn't be interfering with us at all. It would be one curb cut to Route 10. My personal feeling is, I think the select board should try to see if that's possible to purchase that commercial lot.
I think and we're focusing on what's the best for the public safety building. I think if one of those frontage lots would be better.
So Mark, what you're saying is that the access road now would be going north-south behind the commercial lots?
Correct. There is a private drive going north and south off the
That's
subdivision.
Is
interesting.
there parking in the front at all, or just on the back side?
Parking would be in the back.
It's in the back, this is what was provided to me.
Again, this is concept plan, and as Charlie was saying, you buy a lot and you could
Do whatever you want.
develop it however you felt it was best.
Would the state, because it's a state highway, put down barriers in your opinion, your
Not
experience?
necessarily, there's a state highway access permit process you go through, but that, I don't know if they would deny frontage lot from having access. The intent is always to decrease the number of access points, but I think you would still be
That's common highway.
This whole thing about
Public
not
safety.
multiple
So I was just
driveways
thinking if you
is
had
interesting to me,
this,
because that means like a business
you would
like
put your driveway in.
a variety store or a Dollar General or a something store, they were not going to have access right to Route 10.
I'm just saying, that's the concept that they have.
Interesting.
That was the concept, you're correct.
But this idea of buying that lot, just to say it that way, would allow us to have direct access to Route 10
Which is better.
and not bother with whatever they do with the rest of that whole complex. We'd have
Right.
direct access.
Right. And, right, we could move forward with full certainty about what was possible and about how to do it. Well, I didn't like the fact that Ed noted that you can't have a very visible, pylon sign. It's not going to be very visible back there. Anyway, those were my contemplations.
I think you've also opened up the question of if we added this extra acreage, it would give us the potential to do other things for the town because of the land mass being larger.
Well, you want the radical idea from the
Yeah,
outsider?
Let's be radical.
The radical idea would be to either purchase one of those commercial lots or not purchase one of the commercial lots and negotiate to purchase the entire residential portion. Then town basically would control most of the in and out. Maybe you would want one just for a separate driveway, but this is where it separates, and I have to be careful because I know Ian, and rightfully so, is passes the price tag.
No, wait a second.
Would housing be interested in that, to go to CPC and other areas to develop it as affordable housing?
You're talking about all the residential parts in the back?
Yes, I am.
The area is
Radical,
not
huh?
clear too.
The entire
whole
residential portion.
Are you looking, just because we're being radical, are you looking at like East Hampton and them who are getting state money to take into affordable housing?
Yes.
And using that state-backed money to take and do this as a whole concept? You are radical, you know.
I am.
Just sounds-
You've known me long enough that I think outside the box.
Well, I like the idea of putting a motion on the table to ask the select board to negotiate the purchase of that front commercial lot and see what comes back to us from the select board.
I think we also need to first get something more detailed in writing though, however we go about that, because, you know, we've only heard that the intention is to be donated. It's been mentioned in an email, but we have no,
Will that would be the negotiation?
yeah, well, but I mean, they need to put out something saying what that would consist of. So,
I think last meeting, we discussed that and agreed that the negotiation needed to begin because we cannot plan a facility without having the land. We have no idea what the terms and conditions are as of yet, and I think we asserted that it was time to move forward so that we have something concrete. So this is still based, my suggestion is still based on,
So just one lot or the whole corner?
Right there. So the back.
I would do one lot, because the more you do it, the town trying to procure the commercial lots, and I'd be one of the people, you're taking tax dollars off the coffers, the more commercial lots you take. And I don't like that idea myself, so, but
taking one is,
one might be tolerable.
and I was, to my mind, it was the corner lot, so that it's farther away from the,
More southerly, the
Proposed,
most,
yeah.
no, or
well,
which corner?
yeah.
the one that's directly in front, but on the corner of the property. So I was thinking
The southerly.
this one.
The
Yeah,
most
this one,
southerly
yeah.
lot, not
It was,
this
it was
corner.
my,
That's a corner today.
my idea. And it would have to go hand in hand with learning what the terms and conditions of the donation are. If it's not clear cut and a pure donation, I don't know whether, well, that will determine how interested we are in the parcel to begin with. And then so let's say it is free and clear, then adding a commercial lot, that cost would take it from sort of a mediocre site to, as far as I'm thinking, a fairly ideal site.
Where are they in this process?
They're probably coming back in January or February. There's a lot of items they have to address before they proceed, but they're talking about January, February, coming back to the planning board for further approval of the plan.
Because that obviously is a barrier too, right? I mean, is this contingent on this project being approved?
Well, they could take those
I would
commercial
think.
lots, in my opinion, and just sell them today. And then just keep the access to the back and whatever gets developed, gets developed. But if I'm understanding this correctly, we could take, we being the town, and negotiate that lot in the front by Route 10 and negotiate the gifted land so that we have an actual document that specifies what it is, and that's going to help this committee tremendously, because it's going to give us an idea of just what we have for a footprint to work with.
Well, it's mandatory we get that before we move any farther forward.
Yeah, I mean, we're starting to run towards a wall here.
Yeah, those front lots are approved A&R lots, so they're saleable as they stand.
Accesses for that one.
They're already approved as A&R lots.
Can anyone think of reason not to pursue that idea?
I think we need to be able to look everyone in the face and say, have we looked at all reasonable alternatives?
Yeah.
And if you don't ask, you don't know.
Right.
And the inquiry should be, we are considering all alternatives, and we just wondered, is this one of them in terms of the negotiation? It doesn't say we're definitely going to do it. It just,
No, of course, but I thought to investigate it, because, for the reasons stated, that it would turn an okay lot into a very good lot.
And so Ed, your idea of the housing property line, but that would be buying the entire parcel, right? Is that what you're saying?
The entire residential parcel,
not the commercial.
not the commercial, just the one commercial lot.
But that's like 40 acres, is it not?
Which it is.
Well,
And what
I
that
guess
price
you know,
tag
I think the town should own that.
Well, I don't think this committee's ready for that leap yet.
Well, like I-
No,
like I
it
say,
wouldn't be this
that's
committee, though.
something separate for like
Yeah.
the housing authority.
That's
Right,
right, that's a
right.
whole, that's not public safety concern.
is. No.
No,
It would be great for the town to own that for public, or affordable housing.
correct, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
What I'm hearing is your idea seems to be in agreement. It's a question of how do we frame a motion to the select board.
Well,
Get
do
that?
Go for it.
No, wait, let her finish.
Want me to take a shot?
Yeah.
Motion to request the select board to reach out to the property owner to see if they would be willing to negotiate to sell the front right commercial lot to the town to go along with the donation of the 4.6 or whatever it is acres that the property owners were going to donate to the town for a public safety facility. And as a follow-up, what would be the specifics or the conditions on that donation?
I would think that it would need to, the negotiation for the donated land would need to come first, that we need to determine exactly what we're being offered. That's, my personal opinion is that the motion should request that the select board start negotiations regarding the donation of the land with the potential, or with the addition of the commercial lot. Because I don't, it wouldn't be feasible if we have to pay for the back lot, the 4.2 acres, right? We don't know that is yet, there's nothing in writing that that's going to come to pass.
But my motion tied that in.
Yeah, it did.
But it did, but afterwards.
I'm
so-
gonna say cart before the horse, or chicken and egg. You want to tie them together, you don't want to do them separately.
No, I agree. I was just thinking I would put it the other way around.
Well, I'll make Ed's motion.
Wait a minute. Just
I
wait one
just-
second.
clarification of what the motion is a question. If I'm the developer, the question you're asking me is almost two questions. One is, what is my offer to the town for the donated parcel, clarification of that. And then the second question is, what am I willing to sell that frontage lot to the town in lieu of this donation?
No,
No,
No.
not
No.
even both. No,
the donation goes with this.
yeah. So what would be my terms for the donation of the 4.2 or 6 or whatever acres it is? And start with that, and then, by the way, we might also be interested in the rightmost commercial property as well.
I'll clarify, and we might be interested in both?
Yes.
Yeah. Because that's the access, what we were
Yeah.
saying, that one commercial lot would be the access, a straight access on Route 10.
And Mark, they may come back and say, okay, if we're selling that, we'll call it acre lot in the front, we're gonna take an acre away on our donation. They mean, it's negotiations. But at this point in time, somebody from the select board, be it Ed, whoever, needs to start a dialogue
Oh, yeah.
so that we know what's going on. And we don't want to do, in my opinion, a motion that's so narrow that nobody has room to negotiate anything.
They did mention that that was available, that was an option when we were doing a lot
The
of property.
commercial property.
Yeah.
Talking to the realtor and the architect, they did mention if you wanted to buy that property, that's something that they would consider, but this was them, that was the owner's talking. That was
Yes.
the realtor and the architect.
And that's why we need to go to the owners and
So is there a way to go to the owners and start that negotiation about the donation and get clarity there, letting them know that at the same time, we may be interested in buying? I mean, there's already a price on the commercial lot, is there not? I mean, there's no, unless we think that they would lower that price, but I...
Well, it's a negotiation.
Well, maybe.
Well, I made a motion, and I didn't hear a second.
Well, wait a sec, I got Ed's words.
Right.
Do you want me to read that back? Can I read back what I've got, to make sure I've got it right? Move to request the select board reach out to the property owners of Zero College Highway to determine willingness to negotiate to sell the right front lot,
Commercial lot.
right front commercial lot, and to the town, in addition to the 4.6 acre donation, and specifically get the, well, and request the specifics of that donation.
Maybe, you want to know some terms and conditions?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think it's in
Yeah.
addition to the donation.
I
We
think
don't
we
have
should-
any idea what the terms.
Some language, of some terms and conditions.
Yeah, I think we need to be more comfortable with knowing what the terms and conditions are.
Yeah, I do.
Because if
So
we
where do
don't
we
have
want to
that, we're up a creek.
At least get some general idea, because right now,
Not general,
we don't
specific.
know
I mean, the
specifically.
first conversation can be about the donation in more detail.
What do you think the specifics means?
Specifics is a very broad term. You want terms and conditions?
And that's why I used it as a broad term for negotiations purposes, instead of getting down
But all-
into too narrow a path.
But all we're saying is that the first topic of conversation is about the donation, and yes, the commercial lot, not, we want to buy the commercial lot, and oh, by the way, tell us about the donation. I mean, it is the chicken and the egg. We're just saying,
Yes.
focus on the donation first and understand what that's all about from their point of view.
Well, yeah, I would say focus on the whole thing.
So,
That's
your motion, Charlie, what do you want to say?
I would have the specifics, as I've drafted that, I wouldn't change it.
Well, it's going to be
With the donation
discussion.
of the land, to open negotiations with the donation of the land, with the landowner for the donation, and also advise them we may be interested in the front commercial lot.
I think we should be negotiating, not just advising. Well, we've gone all this which way, and I hate to do this, Cindy, but can you read it back, please?
Well, you read back, we're going to have to discuss it anyway, because
Right.
there hasn't even been a second. To request the select board reach out to the property the owners of Zero College Highway to determine their willingness to negotiate to sell the right front commercial lot to the town, in addition to the 4.6 acre donation, and, this is such a run-on sentence, and
What are
to-
what would be the specifics
And-
in the terms and conditions of that donation?
Yeah.
and,
Of the proposed donation, what
and
would
wait
be
a
the
minute,
terms
and in
and, yeah.
addition,
Terms and conditions, specific
Would-
terms and conditions.
would be the specifics
Terms and
of
conditions.
the
Specific.
Specific terms and conditions of the proposed donation
thick
of
Term,
4 point,
you know.
whatever it is,
and
acres.
terms and conditions of the 4.6 acre donation.
And would they be willing to also?
Well, that was in the
consider selling-
beginning. That was in the beginning, Chris.
I agree with Chris.
I mean, I just.
You would flip it
We've only
around.
heard about, this came up today, just now. We've been talking about the possible donation for a little bit
Years.
longer than that. So I just say, we couch both of them in the same motion. I'm just putting the donation
All right.
first, because that's what we, been hearing.
I'm in agreement.
This is,
Well, but it's gonna be up to Ed probably to talk to landowners. The whole select board's not gonna talk to them.
but
Probably.
So.
maybe,
I want one fun project before I leave. This is it. For me, this is it.
when I go slide, executive.
So can we flip it? I don't know, Charlie, you're making the thing here. Chris is suggesting that the first part be to get the terms and conditions of the 6 acre donation.
It's all part of the same discussion.
Right,
I'm
but
just
you're
saying
saying
the
do
wording
it
of the
first.
motion
Yeah,
is to focus on the
That's why I'm
donation
asking.
and also that we're interested in looking at the first
The two
block.
of us are on the same page.
Yeah.
Just how to word it.
but she's saying,
Just wordsmith it.
Yeah,
so,
Here,
Yeah.
I think I got the gist.
well, here, write it down.
What do you
Wait a minute,
got?
can't
No,
read
no,
it
oh, no,
online.
no. Oh, yes, I
You
can.
read my writing?
Oh, yeah.
I don't think so.
Where is it?
It's way down here.
you started it.
I don't think you can.
Let's hope it
Okay.
reaches a good conclusion.
Yeah, we gotta get this right here. To request, this is what it says. Request the select
Request
board.
that we reach out.
Okay, here's what we're gonna do.
For the
To request the select board to reach out to the property owners
Zero College?
of Zero College Highway. And we're gonna flip it up.
And
Yeah, and then say,
request specific.
determine or
I'm writing it down.
to ask what would be the specifics of the
Specific
terms and
Wait a
conditions.
minute, go slower. Six of terms and
The
conditions
terms and conditions,
Of the proposed donation.
of
yeah.
the proposed
Donation of the approximately 4.6 acres
of the 4.6 acres, yeah,
for a public safety
for
facility,
a public safety facility, yeah.
and to determine their willingness to negotiate
And-
to sell
Determine
the
their,
front right commercial lot to go along with that?
To accompany.
That
Sell.
sound reasonable?
to the town,
Yeah, the company
There's
did
got a
donation.
fraud
To accompany
alert,
the
somebody
donation.
used one of my credit cards.
the
To go along with the
Front.
donation?
right.
Yeah,
lot.
I just, a company to me kind of leans it towards donate that too, so that's all
It'd be
I'm
nice if
thinking.
they did.
I mean, it would be nice if they did, but I don't want them to think that's what we're asking, so.
All right, so I think I got it now. To request the select board reach out to the property owners of Zero College Highway to ask the specifics of the terms and conditions of the proposed donation of the plus or minus
Yeah.
4.6 acres for a public safety facility, semicolon, and to determine their willingness to sell to the town the front right lot to go along with the donation. So we said sell. Does that sound good, Chris? Because that means,
I'm pretty good.
what do you, Charlie, is that your motion or is it?
That's my motion. I'm sticking to it.
Okay. I'll second it.
All right. Any other discussion in that?
Oh, sorry. Is there any discussion?
I think one discussion would be timing.
Immediate.
Should we
Yeah,
throw-
we need this.
Well, we meet next Tuesday, so
Yeah,
that would be the first time it comes before the
I
select.
want to talk schedule after we're through with this conversation.
Okay, so as soon as possible, can we throw that in there? ASAP,
Yeah, the next select board meeting is on the 24th,
okay.
so a week from now.
So, okay, so you'll bring it before the select board and they'll either disagree or agree with
Right.
this
Well,
idea.
if this motion passes, I will bring it before the select board at their next meeting. How's that?
Right.
All right, well, all right.
Not until the
ASAP on select board meeting of 10/24.
Right.
All right.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstain? Okay, let's get moving.
It's thinking out of the box, Christina. Good for you. Seriously.
Well, I just didn't like a few of those aspects of it, so.
Well, this is an appropriate time to follow up on that because we're just obviously discussing adding another parcel to the study.
I'll be right back.
The next,
Oh, you're not going to disappear this
No,
time?
I'm not, I'm gonna be right back.
the next phase in our process with HKT is they're going to put concept sketches together on the two properties. We gave them two properties. As far as they know, their homework is to put concept sketches on those two properties.
Correct.
And so are we talking 3 properties, and when or if are we going to let HKT know, and how do we modify and pay for that modification of the contract?
What, excuse me, what do you mean? They were given are you saying the modified Zero College Highway would,
Right, if we
Be
get
a-
that lot,
Be a
everything,
change
the
order.
building's gonna
Right.
turn.
Yeah, they're right now, as far as HKT is concerned, they did the entire matrix.
yeah,
And we told them, Zero College Highway, that donate a lot and this parcel. And they left this meeting, okay, we're gonna hit
right.
those concept sketches. And we're starting to put block diagrams on these parcels and see if they fit and how the driveways can go, and where the parking gotta go. That's what they're working on as we're sitting here talking
Right.
today.
But everything is unknown, Mark. Even for that donated parcel, essentially, there's nothing certain about it, so.
They have the concept parcel
Of the
size.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
parcel
that's
right.
size. So I have no idea. How do you address
Well,
that?
I'm not saying that's a question.
Yeah.
It's a
When are we
question.
meeting with them again next? Isn't it the 23rd? Is it a week from now? Which will be still before the select.
Yes,
meeting.
it's next Monday, is it not?
Yeah, still
And
before the select.
I
meeting.
anticipate they're gonna come back with some beginnings of concept sketches. That's what their last message was. We're hitting the books and doing the concept sketches.
It's going to throw off their schedule. Or possibly what you're saying is going to throw off their
Well,
contract agreement.
not necessarily, because it could go, the building
However-
itself,
Can you go down?
Well,
The bill-
however, you can always say to them that they should not have booked as soon, as soon as they did after this meeting.
Sorry, Christine, you may not know what's going on. People are waiting outside to come in now.
oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. You look like you weren't quite sure where the conversation was already going.
Can we move them downstairs? That's the
What?
Greenway friends.
Well, we're supposed to be all
They would
out
have
of
to
here
put
at
up a
6
note when they-
anyway. Remember I said that?
This is important, but this isn't.
No, I understand. But Mark, could it not be
Oh, it's a
that,
friend.
that
Meeting
8
here.
Well, that's what they got
What?
booked, but they should not have booked it at 6 with this meeting going
Well,
on.
you being the high mucky mucky.
I can go tell them.
You know, I just look like a bouncer.
They're not officially.
That's Friends of the Greenway, I think. I just
So,
didn't.
go ahead, sorry.
2 conversations going on.
They're scheduled, and after their site analysis presentation and ranking, Their next step is test fit options, 2 test fit options for the 2 parcels identified.
Correct, correct. But that's just, we could view that single acre just as access. It wouldn't necessarily alter their proposed plan for the 4.2.
Well, I thought we were going to put the fire facility on that front parcel, or just use it as a drive?
No, just.
I'm totally confused here.
No, just,
It's just
No, 'cause the
access.
building
Access.
is-
Mostly
access to Route 10.
It's just an access. Okay, I'm sorry, I was misconceiving.
It's just taking access away from this private road to this public road to a private road.
I was misconceiving.
It's a big old driveway.
I was
Right, but
misconceiving.
the way they're planning the building is the fire trucks and everything are gonna be going
You're right.
straight out to that side road.
You're right. But are they developing it now to the degree that it could just be reoriented?
I think it can be I think what they did is they took the original concept that was developed years ago, and they just sort of plopped it in there based on what they had. Now, all of a sudden, we're opening up this, acre? I don't know how long that piece of land is, but it could very well be that they do bring it closer to Route 10, and then have that more, that's why I was saying we're gonna end up with, if we end up with, instead of 4 acres, we end up with 5 acres, we may have something that's a little bit back there, that we can do something else that we wanted with the town, nothing huge, but, you know.
so could we, because if we're gonna meet with them on the 23rd, is that right? Is that?
20th.
Well, a week from
23rd,
today.
sorry,
Yeah,
23rd.
23rd, yeah.
Is a
So
week
that's
today.
the day before the select board meets. So select board would not have even heard this, right? So is there a way that we could at least inform them, like we've been doing with communication with the co-chairs, that we are, while we're trying to, get down to the brass tacks about the possible donated land, we're also going to ask them about this front commercial lot, so that they're aware of it.
I
I
personally
don't see
think
why
so, and
they should, there's no reason they have to wait for select board, in my
No.
mind, to know that we've got another potential option in the works. Nothing definite, no matter what.
they can keep it in mind. It would,
But
yes,
keep that in mind.
why not? Just alert them to the fact that it came up in
Otherwise, you're right,
discussion
they'll
as a,
wasted their time doing something where,
I'll send them that email tomorrow.
Yeah.
This.
as a result of
Motion.
the evaluation process that we
Yeah.
went through. It's a discussion that came up
right.
as a result of it.
And we won't have any real concrete evidence yet, because select board won't even, get the motion to act on it until the following day,
Right.
to the 24th. But at least let them know that that's a consideration.
I think that's all we can do at this
I think we can at least do
time.
that much, so that if they decide to turn it one way or another to have a better access to a driveway, like you say, who knows?
May I ask a question? I have another meeting at 6:30 I have to be at. If I leave, we still have a quorum? Because I didn't realize the last time I did that, that there was no quorum.
Yeah,
We do have a quorum.
Yeah. But we do need to hurry up also.
Yeah, we do, for the sake of everybody, we do need to get on. So,
Six is the magic number.
Yeah, because it triggers other things going on. I actually got an engineer from Northampton coming to have me sign off.
Okay.
No. six is
so
the
let
magic
us
number
move
for
on,
quorum.
please.
Oh,
I think we're good with, we've concluded this discussion. Okay, so as quickly as we can, please, let us move on to the public outreach plans.
Yeah, now you've had some discussions with
Rich had some
e-media.
I've spoken to we have a firemen's association, and I've spoken to the president about the association sponsoring the trifold. So they're interested, they would like to know prices, obviously, so. I mean, I don't know, I know at the select board meeting, it was brought up that the town shouldn't pay for it.
Right.
Now, would the association be able to pay for it?
They're totally separate, are they?
The only thing I would probably suggest I take a look at it first to see if it's even leaning towards what might be construed as a piece to lobby a ballot initiative, because the association may then have to actually register as a PAC, Political Action Committee.
So it really needs to be a completely, in your mind, it needs to be a completely separate organization like the Friends of.
Depends on what it is. I mean, the town could probably do some type of pamphlet and pay for it that basically, you know, shows the existing conditions of the two places, but, you know, does not ask for any support, any donations, or
It's informational.
anything like that. It's
Strictly informational, not,
and like I say, anything the town even gonna think about putting out is, in my opinion, I have to ask the select board for their, to give me the authority to do it, but I would send it along to town council to review, because like I say, the Attorney General's office is now cracking down on these things.
Is the Firemen's Association specific to Southampton? I'm not exactly
Yes.
sure what that organization is.
Yeah, this is just was on the desk there. But yeah, it's a association. And basically just to support the fire department.
Okay, the Southampton Fire
Yes,
Department.
yes.
Okay, all right, so it's not a broader.
Do people make contributions to it, like, you know, concerned
Yes.
citizens?
That we get contributions from townspeople. Most of them, we'll get donations here or there, but most of them are from when somebody passes away, and donate, instead of flowers, donate to the Firemen's Association.
I believe this was started as an endowment, was it not? Or
And then
something?
there's also an endowment. A lady had passed away,
Julia-
College Highway.
Yeah, Julia.
Julia
right.
Baronic.
Right, and she had split up her estate, where the fire department got one, I think it was the Girl Scouts, Bright Side, I think there was 4 of them in the library.
Yeah.
So there's like $135,000 in an account, but we can't touch that, we can only take the interest.
Right. So, as an organization or association, you voted or agreed, or?
Well, I
It's-
approached the president, being a chief officer, I am technically not on the association. So I approached the president and he agreed, depending on the cost. You know, he has some leeway he can spend. If it goes over that, then he has to go through the whole association and they have to vote on it.
Okay, so that's one potential source of funding for a trifold, and I guess we would then have to carefully craft it so that it would pass the town council's or authority that.
Yeah, or it would be presenting both pros and cons, is what you're concerned about?
Well, that one could, like I say, they just have to be careful of what they actually put in it, because depending on that, they may have to register as a political action committee.
Yeah.
Is it a
Versus just mailing
501c3?
it out.
What's that?
Is the organization a tax-deductible
Yes.
501c3?
Tax is done, yeah.
And is the police have anything similar like that?
no. No, we used to have an association, we don't any longer.
And is it possible that we could also use CPC funds for this purpose? They have an administrative line item as well that has been used for production.
Can't see how it fits into any of their categories.
Would just be their administrative costs one, but that, even that.
But their administrative cost is supposed to go towards those existing categories,
Yeah.
also open space.
So they paid for that
recreation.
Barnes Aquifer informational piece, so that would be considered open space?
I would think,
Okay.
yeah.
Actually, that went on a warrant. That wasn't administrative, that was on the warrant.
So, I mean, I think, I think what and you had said at one point in time, to have a trifold like that, it would be maybe a challenge to put it like in with the tax bills, because that would look like it's coming out as a,
Exactly.
you know, only a pro kind of whatever. So, I mean, to the extent that you could do a trifold like that and have a, you know, have it be a self-sealer with, you know, with the postage right on it, and you put it in the mail. I mean, we get those kind of things all the time without having to do envelopes and
Right.
all that stuff. I mean, I think
Well, that's how this came through.
Yeah.
And these are 20, there
Oh, no,
are
they're not.
almost
Oh, yeah.
about 2,700 households right now.
Yeah.
So you multiply that times first-class postage.
Yeah.
If it could go inserted into something else.
Yeah, which may be the challenge, so,
Yeah.
in this particular case, but it may not be as heavy-duty as that paper stock
That's right.
either.
It could be.
So
later.
it could be less costly
Yeah.
than whatever, if those were probably more than the regular
Yeah.
postage, I assume. But anyway, so. I
But
mean,
the other part is timing on this, because
Yeah.
all of this that we're talking about right now, like if it was to be put into the tax folder or whatever, we won't have much. We will only have need. We won't have proposed site. We won't have any of that quite then. I don't think it'll be
Yeah.
ready for then. So it's a little premature for a brochure, I think.
Well, it's very premature, but
Right,
we're
but
at least
we can
thinking
certainly get
ahead
some money
toward
approved
it.
for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Well,
know whether it's an
I'm thinking
option.
about going in with the tax bill, that's all I was thinking.
Yeah,
Oh, I
we were
don't
saying
think
that
it's
that's not a good
possible.
idea.
That's not a
Yeah,
good idea.
yeah. I don't-
That was crossed off, I think, as an option. It's not. In this particular case, for this purpose,
Yep, okay.
not probably a good idea. So if you do 27 households times whatever postage is these days,
2,700.
that would give you a rough idea on postage. and then
66 cents.
And then
whatever
the
on
printing, design and
design.
printing.
Mm.
Well, Cindy said that this cost 6,000, so, I mean, it's going to be significant, and it is in the future, so I think it's great that you have investigated a little bit and let us see where that can go. And it will not go in with the tax bills.
Okay.
Did you meet with E-Media?
No, we keep on playing. We were, tried to meet last week. There was just some,
Thanks, Charlie.
no connection between all three of us.
Okay.
So I'm gonna shoot again for
So,
later
yeah,
this week, early next week.
okay. We'll get it eventually.
We will, yeah.
Cindy, do you have anything about?
No, I just wondered if you had any idea of how we can, Ed, you know, I had sent you the email to describe the idea of a citizens group, call it Citizens for Our Public Safety Professionals, or should that come from someplace outside of this meeting, or, that's my question to you, Ed.
So someone,
Ask it again?
Well, at a previous meeting, I raised the question of whether there could be like a citizens group that supported,
Well, there could be.
and you said you couldn't answer it unless I sent you an email. So I sent you an email, and I just didn't know if such a group should be, we could approach anybody, and I'm thinking people that have kids in the school system, et cetera, they're not necessarily represented in this meeting right now, to inform other individuals about the importance of this and the details, and eventually get out the vote.
Almost like a friends.
Almost like a Friends, but a
Friends
Friends is a
group, of
501c3, so almost like,
But it would have to be completely separate from this committee.
Yeah, it needs to be completely separate, and if one of you reached out to somebody and started that, that's not a big deal.
All right.
I would keep it away from the committee trying to start.
all right,
the
so if
article.
somebody
Yeah,
knew some younger people that were, okay.
And it wouldn't have to be registered as a 501c3, right?
not necessarily.
In
not
several
to
parties
see-
or not.
Well, that
not to
takes
see
a
the
long time
donations or
anyway.
anything
Right.
like that.
Yeah, it takes a long time to
Okay.
get the registration.
Right, but if no money is
Right,
involved,
so there doesn't need to.
no, it's just
I'm going to call it a
promotional.
citizens group to support public safety.
Think it would
You know,
be-
we got all these,
Yeah.
I support my police department in town, that kind of thing. and-
Right. Just one other thought I had, I don't know, I know you guys have been jammed with everything, but we had talked about trying to do some fall tours of the station. Do we have any leeway on that, any days, any weekend coming up? While fall is still decently pleasant?
21st is this weekend.
Why don't we make a point to try to meet this week, you and I, so we actually come up with a date where we do that.
We've got place markers in both the senior center newsletter and the church newsletter saying, stand by for the tours. So as soon as you come up with dates, then we can get that published. We can't put anything in the school newsletter. They don't want anything but school information, and we can't put anything in the library newsletter because they only want library information or related specifically to the library. So if you come up with dates.
Yeah, so this coming weekend, the 21st, I know there's other things going on in town, so that one's kind of
That's right.
blocked
It's too
in,
late to
but-
advertise it.
Yeah, way too late to do that
Think
anyway.
about
So, I mean, the earliest you could do would be the weekend of the 28th, whatever, from then on.
Well, and that's based on getting all this in these
Well,
newsletters.
then you're running into Halloween and all that kind of craziness too, so. you know,
Well, I would think up until Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so too.
I think you don't have to feel too
Right,
jammed.
but yeah.
As soon as possible, but why not, you know,
Early
you can do
November, yeah.
Thanksgiving tours.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go on vacation, I'm gonna take some time off.
No,
Thanksgiving week, I've already planned.
but I meant up until, you know, I think you can easily move into November
I do too.
Yeah.
to do your
Oh, you know,
tours.
find the turkey tour in the police station or something. Scavenger hunt.
Now, if
Why don't we
it's
make
too
a
early or
point
too
to
much, a
have a
truck or
full
treat at the
conversation
police station or
tomorrow,
fire
and we'll come up with
station?
some dates.
Okay.
All right, and so.
That's
next
true,
we'll go on
truck or
vacation.
Can you do that, the truck or treat
Right.
at the fire station?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the truck or treat, aren't they doing it at the school?
At the school, they do that, yeah.
Oh, they do it at school.
Right, that's,
That's next,
Soon. isn't it?
that's soon.
Yeah.
thought it was this
Friday
Friday.
might be this
Maybe
Friday.
Friday, yeah. I saw something.
But anyway, we'll have, Chief and I will have a phone conversation tomorrow. We'll come up with some dates. And then
Okay,
what
and
we'll
you
do
can
is-
report those next Monday when we meet.
You'll have.
All right. Can we truncate this a little bit again? I know we're often doing that, but our sessions are long. May we move on to?
Yeah.
Okay, so again, we're sort of kicking this can down the road to the evaluation of the existing facilities.
Can I just raise one question about that? It won't take a long discussion. If somebody, I'm happy to put together like an Excel spreadsheet where we could have on one, you know, kind of a table similar to what HKT is doing, where we could compare the various fire stations and somebody else can pick up and run with it to start to collect the data. What I'd like to get from people are just ideas of what should be on there. Town size, number of bays, these are just things that are off my head. What kinds of data would you utilize to compare it to? And you don't have to take time now. As far as I'm concerned, you could just email me ideas and then I could come up with a proposed table.
So
And
this
how
would be
many?
for like comparing the Williamsburg and the Granby and the whatnot?
Correct. And the wheres, the Williamsburg versus Granby versus anybody else, can be decided at a later date. So that's what I don't have expertise in at all. What kinds of things would you want to see
Line
compared?
one, age of facilities.
Age of facility, but we don't want to talk about it now because we really have a lot of things to
Yeah.
keep moving on. So if you could just, you know, email me ideas of what should be on that. And then I'm thinking somebody else picks up with the idea of going out and getting that kind of data. Maybe some of it's known to you already.
Right, and that would be true. So to move forward on task 7, accomplishing task 7, if we as a group come up with ideas for Cindy to put together into a spreadsheet, then someone take on the responsibility of sort of pursuing.
Are we going to send Cindy our individual ideas or send it to the chair and then have her deliver it to Cindy?
To go to
Send
the
it
chair.
to the chairs. Make sure that it's addressed to both the chief and me.
We don't need a motion for that. Just-
Okay.
Thank you.
That is good. Now, is there any other business that can't wait?
Nope.
Oh, good.
So
Now-
next meeting is Monday, right?
Yes, the next meeting is Monday. So let me ask this. When we meet with HKT, we get nothing else done. Should we, once again, have the meeting start at 4, so we have 1/2 hour to approve minutes and attend to a little bit of business before Janet and Amy join in? Is everybody
It's fine with me.
available? Seems like a good idea, because otherwise we get nothing else done. Okay.
I think so, as long as we can knock off by 6. I mean, I think 6 is the bewitching hour.
Well, I think so too.
Yeah, so.
And so do we make that clear to
To them.
Janet and Amy as well? And so I will write that in an email that we will be adjourning at 6.
Okay. I move to adjourn.
Second,
I'll second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.